Welcome to Chasing Dragons. I'm your host, Noah Chrysler. This is a show where I dive deep with creative entrepreneurs to uncover the dragons that they're chasing. We talk about their ambitions, their challenges, and the hidden beliefs that they might hold that might be shaping their journey from behind the scenes. We don't just talk about business, we explore what drives them, what holds them back, and how they can break through to the next level. Today, my guest is Emily Capelli. Emily is a licensed psychotherapist specializing in trauma, disorder eating, and sexual/identity challenges, with a deep commitment to serving the queer community and beyond. Her work goes far beyond traditional therapy. She thrives in raw, unfiltered conversations that others might shy away from, helping clients navigate some of life's most challenging personal transformations. Her practice is at a turning point. She's transitioning away from lower-paying platforms to build a fully independent, optimized private practice, one that not only supports her clients, but also values her own time, energy, and worth. But Emily's impact isn't limited to the therapy room. She has stacks of personal essays filled with insights and reflections on mental health, identity, and self-discovery, yet she hasn't shared them with the world. That's about to change, with a growing vision to launch a writing presence, a podcast, and a platform that brings her unique perspective to a larger audience. She's on the edge of something bigger. Emily isn't just building a career, she's shaping a movement, redefining what ethical, authentic therapy looks like in 2025. Welcome, Emily, to Chasing Dragons.
Wow. Holy shit.
Isn't that cool? That's your Marvel origin story, and then you do like the superhero landing. Before this interview, Emily completed a guided ChatGPT interview about the current state of her business. From that, we identified 3 key areas to focus on today. The first one is transitioning away from BetterHelp and raising prices without fear. How can she make this shift without worrying about losing clients? The second is expanding her business without losing authenticity. Does growth mean sacrificing personal connection, or can it actually deepen her impact? The third is about overcoming fear of publishing and using writing as a business asset. How can she step into thought leadership in a way that feels true to her? My goal is to understand where Emily's business is today and her mindset around it. Together, we'll explore the limiting beliefs that might be holding back growth, and with her permission, work on reframing those beliefs to unlock new opportunities. Sound good? Beautiful.
Good. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, first topic is about transitioning away from BetterHelp and raising prices without fear. So tell me, Emily, about I'm going to listen now, and I'm sorry for talking so much. Tell me about your experiences with BetterHelp and how it plays into your business. Here we go. Let's hear it.
Are you ready to talk shit about BetterHelp? Because
yes.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm very part-time on there. Very part-time. Like it's really easy to like turn it on and get new people. Like literally you can hit a little button and it'll send new people to you like within like 20 minutes. You can turn it off and then you can work with those people. They've literally gamified therapy. And I have mixed feelings about that. I mean,
what are those feelings? Yeah, you seem conflicted about it. It's bad. They seem bad. It seems like you think it's bad. Is that true?
So on the one hand, there's this accessibility thing where, you know, everyone knows the name BetterHelp, and, you know, people who maybe are on the fence about therapy, maybe hear, you know, are watching Good Mythical Morning or whatever, and they hear Rhett and Link and they're like, BetterHelp, and they're like, oh yeah, I should do that. And maybe they don't have as like a conflicted view of BetterHelp as like maybe people who are like chronically online. But maybe, I don't know, whatever. But it's so the pricing or I guess like how they pay their therapists, and this is something that totally you can leave in. Like I am going to talk numbers, but like you can totally leave this in.
Okay.
Because I think transparency is kind of cool, especially with this with a big like conglomerate like BetterHelp.
Yeah.
So like their pricing is dynamic in that like every 5 hours you get from them, they increase your hourly rate by $5. So the first 5 hours, clinical hours that you have with them are $30 an hour. The next 5 are $35 an hour. So, and then so on and so on and so on until I think the cap is like 70, but you'd have to work like 12-hour days, 7 days a week. Like impossible.
Is it monthly? Does it reset monthly or something, or weekly? Weekly.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
if you like exclusively use their platform, you kind of do okay.
Yes, yes,
Gross. I hate it. I
yeah,
hate
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and here's
Ugh.
the other kicker. Here's the other kicker. This is the other part that really fucking sucks. Um, is they like traditional therapy is usually 60 minutes. Like a session is an hour. They don't do hour-long sessions. They only do 45-minute sessions, and they stop the clock. And so, like, for example, I could work 10 sessions in a week and actually only get paid for 7.5 hours. So, and that adds up, especially with like the dynamic pricing.
No, yeah, that's disgusting. That's
I would have
disgusting.
wanted to get 10 hours, but I would have had to work 12 hours to get those 10 hours, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes me furious that they are allowed to get
Yeah.
away with that. That seems illegal to me.
And
That
guess
seems
what?
like wage fraud is or whatever the fuck, like labor
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. So like they're not doing this shit out of the goodness of their hearts. Like
Sure.
this is a for-profit company
Yeah, it's
and
McDonald's. You're working for
yes,
McDonald's. Yeah, it sucks, dude. That
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. But here's the thing. And like I'm a big believer in like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Sure.
I have the coolest people on there.
Sure.
People I would have never met before.
Mhm.
Pennsylvania is like a very interesting state. Um There's Philadelphia and there's Pittsburgh, but then there's, like, a lot in between, and there's the sticks, like,
Sure.
out and I just a lot of the people that I have on there are, like, in rural communities where, like, they don't have a lot of access to mental health, and so, like, that part I do like, getting exposure to different kinds of people.
Mhm.
Um, I do like that and, like, thus, like, expanding my skills clinically, like, that's very exciting to me, but, um, yeah, the pricing sucks.
Got it.
Be
Do you mind if I jump in with some thoughts and
Yeah,
things?
yeah,
Also, one thing that I want to clarify is I think you and I were talking about this over DM. By the way, Emily supports me on Patreon. If you want to go support on Patreon, patreon.com/Noah Chrysler. Emily, thank you so much for your support. Emily's photo is right there. There she is. She's awesome. She's on the wall of fame.
Most of the time, supporting a creator on YouTube feels a little bit like charity. But right now, for just $5 a month, you could get access to this community, which might actually help you change your life. This whole show is funded by Patreon. Every single dollar from the Patreon right now goes directly to the talented editors that help bring this show to life. Their names are Michael and Carla, and they're fucking cool. You're joining a community that helps you level up in your business, your relationships, your career, or whatever problem that you're facing. And in there are twice monthly calls where you'll get one-on-one feedback from me and constant support from people in the community that have already solved the problems that you're facing. And you get it all for $5 a month. You get real-time help, faster progress, and a shot at actually solving the thing that's right now keeping you stuck. But guys, please don't just take my word for it. Here's what some of the people in the community have said.
I really enjoy the show, and obviously we've become friends since Patreon. And yeah, it's just a good thing to be involved in. I'm enjoying it.
I really liked the last kind of documentary that you did,
Right.
and I wanted to be friends with you. That was
Oh,
like,
hell yeah.
wanted to be
Sick.
good.
Right now, it's just $5 a month, and you get the Discord, you get the calls, you get a direct line to me, you get a text message line where you can text me at any time. You also get access to like my book club recommendations called my Influence Index, which is a book club, but it's also like documentaries and YouTube creators that I like, and I write blog posts about them, and you get that every week, which is pretty cool. You get early access to videos and stuff. You also get just like a bunch of other shit. And we could do calls and stuff if you want to do that. And if you join right now, the honest truth is that you just get a lot more of my time while the community is small, right? I don't think this community is going to be super small for very long. So if you want a lot of my time, you might as well join right now. That's just a fact. If you want to join, head on over to patreon.com/Noah Chrysler. It starts at $5, but if you join a higher tier, you get extra perks, future bonuses, other cool stuff, and you get on this damn wall. Guys, also, if you're liking this video, post in the comments and let me know. And like this video. That's pretty cool. I like it when people like the video. That's sick. Guys, subscribing to this channel is also free, and you can always unsubscribe later. And now, guys, back to the show.
Emily, you told me you were like, if you get really good at motivational interviewing, like
Yeah.
this will be an incredible podcast. And I really thought about that. And it's like I really like motivational interviewing. But that said, this show, I don't want this show to run as a therapy session, right? Because I'm not a therapist and I don't know how to do that. Half of this show is I think what this show is me using my knowledge of entrepreneurship and business, and then potentially using some communication tactics from therapy stuff to to help communicate some of those things in a way that hopefully is effective, right? So that's kind of my vision, because I don't think I'm a therapist, and I think if I pretend to be, people are going to be like, "What the fuck?" Anyway, what you've told me, I'm going to go ahead and make some judgments, which I think a therapist normally wouldn't do, but I don't really know that, so maybe you let me know. You make
Absolutely.
judgments to your clients. Are you like, "Hey, that fucking sucks"? Is that what you do? Sometimes,
I wouldn't say that fucking sucks, but I would
sure.
be like, can I be honest with you?
I love that. Okay, sick. Can I be honest with you?
Yeah. Okay.
Here we go. Yeah, no, it seems like you're already very aware, but like
Yeah.
I hate the gamified bullshit
Yeah.
system that
No.
you just described to me.
It's
Yeah.
not.
I mean,
It's
like that is a system designed to be addictive, right? Where and it's a system design, in my opinion, what you just described to me, that is a system designed to exploit labor, right? We are
100%.
yeah,
Oh,
just like DoorDash is, just like Uber is, right? We've gamified this thing to get this worker to invest more of their hours so that we can make a larger return on their labor, right? I think that the more hours you give to that, I think the more you are reducing your personal power and the potential for your business to make significant amounts of money. Um,
totally.
that said, I also think that it probably has been extremely useful for helping you develop your skill set and the foundation of your career. Would you agree with that?
I would. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't regret it. Even though I have had conflicting feelings about it from the start.
Sure.
And yeah, like I said, very small caseload on there. Like less than I think I'm down to 10 at this
Got it.
point.
Which sucks though, because like even then, like that means that you can't get those higher returns, right?
Yeah.
That's why I hate
Yeah.
them. That's awful. What an
No, yeah.
awful, horrible system that they've made that they're
Yeah.
getting rich off of. Which, by the way, thank you for letting me know, because like I don't know, a lot of the content that I'm making is kind of about like mental health stuff in a way. And like I know that's a very big sponsor. And someday it'd be nice to like get sponsors for this show. And
From them.
to know that they're fucked is good information. So cool. My thought is
Firsthand experience too, because like sometimes I read online what people's like gripes are with BetterHelp, and I can tell they've never used it.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, they use AI therapists. Like I don't know, maybe they do. I can't speak to that, but
Mhm.
I will say that some of the technology they use is really cool, and BetterHelp should talk to mental health agencies a little bit more, because the technology in agencies is like horrible, just
Shitty.
horrible.
So honestly, I think that there's a huge entrepreneurship lesson in here, which is fantastic. Like one of the benefits, one of the do you know what the Rumsfeld matrix is? I think it's called the Rumsfeld matrix. Do you know what that is? I think it's like a programming term. There's like 4 categories of information. There's known knowns, there's known unknowns, there's unknown knowns, and then there's unknown unknowns. Have you heard of this before?
It
If not, that's okay.
sounds like the Johari window, but yeah.
Probably it's probably
Yeah.
the same thing. I
Yeah.
don't know. But my friend Andrew explained this to me in an interview we did a while ago. But essentially, I think that like if you're going to start a restaurant, I think it's really beneficial for people to have their first job be at McDonald's, right? Because like, you know, like you learn a lot about how the corporatized system works, right? And then you can you're suddenly operating with an implicit knowledge that you're not even aware that you have, of like, okay, a restaurant is a point of sale system. There's a teenager at the front who's putting in the point of sale system. Sorry, I don't know. This is a little bit condescending. But you know, there's someone making minimum wage doing the point of sale, right? Which is,
Huh.
you know, being exploited by the business. Capitalism's gross sometimes. Anyway, cool. And then there's an order that gets sent to the kitchen. The kitchen's going to process that. The faster that they can assemble that and get it to the customer, the happier the customer probably will be. You know, you implicitly understand all of these things about overhead and supply chain and like and good service, right? And so if you're going to someday own a restaurant, working at McDonald's is invaluable, right? That's amazing. So my advice would be to write down, and you said that you're a writer as well, write down everything that you love about BetterHelp, and then like make your own cheesy version to like incorporate into your business. I think that would be a very, very valuable way for you to kind of like add some of your favorite bits of BetterHelp to your business. Fair?
Yeah. I like that. I'm legitimately taking notes, finally.
Sick. Hell yeah. So cool. You in your summary that you sent me, you had kind of a you had a timeline, which by the way, so cool because your timeline was like very conservative, right? It was like, hey, in 2 months, I'm going to fully transition away from BetterHelp. And it was wonderful because there's deadlines, right? Like it's you clear. I love like working with mental health people because they understand human behavior and like what triggers actual change, right? It's like a deadline is a really good thing because it's like I have to make this decision by this point or else bad, whatever. So that's super cool. I'm also crazy though, and I really love like startups and business and shit, right? And by the way, you right now, from what you've told me, it seems like your business has had more success than most of my businesses. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, right? Because like whatever, I don't this you know more about your business than I do, right? And so try to accept what seems true to you and then reject what is false. But what I would recommend is I would accelerate that timeline. I would try to personally, if it were my business, I would say I'm going to, as cordially as possible, I'm going to communicate with my clients on BetterHelp and say, hey, and they probably have a policy around like, you can't refer them outside of BetterHelp. I'm sure that exists somewhere in the system or something.
I looked into it, and I've converted people over to my private practice. Quite a few.
I think maybe look into that because maybe we should cut that out of the conversation because they might kick you off of BetterHelp if they. That's what I would do if I ran BetterHelp. Or do they not care about that? Sorry, I don't know. I don't.
They're kind of big brother about it a little bit. Yeah.
So let's cut that, Michael. Please.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay. Fuck it. Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Metal as fuck. I love that, Emily. Fuck yeah, dude. Sick. So yeah, I think that like
let them find it and then
and then kick you off. That's sick. That's awesome.
Kick me off.
Yeah, come for me. Fuck you guys. Yeah. So if you could transition those clients away from that and just say, hey guys, like, a really good angle for that might be like, hey guys, I'm getting fucked by this. Like, like this money that you're paying them, like I get $30. Like that's fucking dumb.
No,
like,
I don't get $30. I get $22.50.
Gross. That's disgusting, right? So even just using that as an appeal, be like, hey, look, I'm making a pivot for my business, and I'm gonna just go out and do my own thing, and build what I want to build. And I think that it would provide you more value potentially, right? Like, I don't like these 45-minute sessions. Let's do an hour, right?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Okay, let me take you through some of my thoughts here that I congealed. Cool. You're already in the process of leaving BetterHelp. You have a strong, loyal client base, but we talked about some of the negatives. Cool. Let me go through some of these potential ideas here. What does financial stability actually look like for you? That's here's an idea. What percentage of your current income, weekly or monthly, is BetterHelp providing?
Oh. Barely anything.
Really?
Yes, because of how low. Let me.
The rate is
13%.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't think that this is worth your time. I think that you are.
The fuck not. Wow. Wow. I didn't know it was that bad.
No. Cool. Sick.
I did not know it was that bad. That's cool.
So just like, again, this is later in the conversation, but what I would do as an entrepreneur and a marketing person primarily is I would immediately stop doing that. I would immediately talk to your existing clients there and say, hey guys, if you want therapy from me, I love you people, and come over to my own business so I'm not getting fucked by BetterHelp. And then I would take that time that you normally would invest in BetterHelp and I would even block it off on your calendar so that, like, because again, those human behavior things, I would block it off on your calendar and and I would say, this is now my time where I'm going to work on my marketing acquisition pipeline. Because I think in some of your in your summary, I got the impression that your pipeline is not necessarily. It seems like you are currently relying on word of mouth and existing clients. Would you say that that's fair? Or not? Tell me about your current marketing efforts and your pipeline, because I don't understand how you acquire clients.
I'd say that my marketing at this point is somewhat passive in that I have a profile on Psychology Today, which is like what most therapists use. It's like a directory. And I would have to look at it, but I get about like 7 to 10 hits on it a month, which is pretty good. That's actually pretty high.
No, that's cool.
I think. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But
No, but like, I mean, 7 to 10. Now, when you say hits, is that like a hard inquiry of like, hey, like,
yeah.
cool. I mean,
And
that's wonderful, actually. Like, that's great.
but some of them don't convert,
Sure.
you know.
Which is natural, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's going to happen. What would you say your conversion rate is on that website potentially?
I would say I probably get like 1 or 2 new people a month.
That's like pretty solid.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that this is a very. Here's the other thing is that when I read the report that you sent me, it seemed like you thought about these problems as unrelated, right? It seemed like there was a bunch of like potentially like siloed things about your business that you saw as individual problems. And from some of my experience and my background in digital marketing, I think a lot of those problems are actually the same problem, right?
Oh, can you say more about what that means?
Yes. So you said there was. I think that part of you felt potentially, and please clarify if I am not summarizing this well, but it seemed like you either felt afraid or potentially guilty about raising your prices. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, is that true?
Yeah, that
Do
is
you think
true.
do you think it's more fear or more guilt?
Guilt.
Guilt. Got it. Speak to that. Why? What makes you feel guilty?
Because I'm like, I'm such a little fucking caretaker, and I'm like, oh, but they have 3 kids, and like,
Yeah.
oh, but
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for that, and I know that.
Yeah. I like that. I want to clarify some things, right? I think that is beautiful, right? Like I think that is so beautiful, and I think that that without that muscle in your mind, right? Like you would fail as an entrepreneur, right? I think that people discount that emotional, empathetic connection element,
Yeah.
right? And so like on some level, common sense says like, if I fuck people over, that is wrong, right? And I shouldn't do that, right? I think that is very essential to entrepreneurship. And I think people who have a strong sense of that succeed in entrepreneurship. And I think that people who now I would say at the highest levels of entrepreneurship, like the people running giant corporations, they have created so many levels of removal from empathy that they are not blocked by those things. I think that that's disgusting. I think that giant corporations are evil. I think that our country is moving towards an oligopoly that I'm not very happy about. And whatever. But I also think though that there is potential. This is a sliding scale, right? Evil corporation versus like, my father very, very, very much struggled with this, right? He runs an auto repair shop, and he's like, everybody in this city charges 3 times what I charge, but my clients love me, right? I have more clients than anyone in this fucking city. Right. So here's my potential solution to this, and let me know if are you with me so far? We good? Beautiful.
Good, yeah.
So I personally think that if you so you're saying right now you get about 7 to 8 new inquiries per month. My thought is that your current clients are probably price anchored towards you, right? So if let's just use a ballpark figure that might be reasonable. I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I won't say it. Let's say that they're paying $50 a session right now, right? And you're going to potentially, which is probably low. Maybe they're paying $500 a session. Do you find it insulting if I'm like,
yes, 500?
They're paying $500 a session, which is not a realistic number, I don't think. But
no, absolutely not. But
got it.
But yeah, anyway.
But that way it's not patronizing, because they should be. They should be, Emily. Your services are worth it. So, so right now, if they're price anchored at $500, and then you say to them, "Hey, I have to raise the price to $600," right? They're going to be pissed off by that, right? It's like that's just a part of life, right? And if somebody's gotten a service, like, and it's not all of them, right? And a lot of them will understand, right? But when you've been giving somebody a service for this much, and then you're suddenly like, "Hey guys, I'm really sorry, but like the economy and bullshit's happening, and you're going to get the same service, but it's going to cost $100 more." People just don't like that, right? And they're going to leave. They're going to leave potentially, right? My opinion is that you should still do that, right? Because and I think that your current boundaries and mindset around that are really good, right? But you should be also prepared that some of your clients might potentially choose to leave, right? Yeah.
That might be.
And if too many leave, then maybe consider, okay, fuck, maybe I need these people. If I'm going to cut BetterHelp out, maybe I need these people, and maybe I can strike a deal where maybe hopefully not all of them leave, right? Cool. So anyway,
I have kind of like a flexible mindset around it, like especially if people fall on hard times, and which is very natural, very normal. Like I believe in long-term therapy. Like, so for me, like average therapeutic relationship is like 2-3 years.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
A lot of the people I've been working with since I started my business 7 years ago.
Wow.
So some people have been with me 7 years, some people 6, 5, 4. So for me, like, for example, charging like $40 a session with someone who can like has like fallen on hard times, maybe their partner like lost their job and they have 5 kids or whatever. I feel much more willing to do that because I'm investing in their future, and I know that like there is going to be a return on that investment. Like, I guess it's like kind of like the Buddhist in me, that I'm just like I'm going to get that back somehow.
No, but I
therapy.
think that that's not just like a Buddhist woo-woo philosophy. I think that that's also that's like in business, right? That would be customer, it would be CAC, right? It would be that's customer acquisition. It'd be lifetime value, it'd be LTV, right? It'd be CLTV, customer lifetime value, right? Like by charging them a lower amount, you're probably going to have a longer relationship with them, which means that your customer lifetime value is likely going to be higher than if you charge them, and they couldn't afford $100 and they only did one session with you. If you charge them $40 and they did, 3 years of sessions with you, that's
exactly.
thousands of dollars of value that you just.
My exact thought.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that is probably a very, very, very good strategy, especially for an early business. Okay. What I would say though is that it seems to me like your business is pretty consistent right now, right? You believe in what you're doing, you're supporting yourself with what you're doing. I think that potentially what could bring you to the next level is those price raises, which you've already outlined in the plan that you sent me. And you also gave a deadline and kind of a plan for how to do that with letting them know and then that sort of thing.
And they're not extravagant changes.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think that so whenever I've raised my prices,
Oh, you've done it before. Wonderful.
Oh yeah. Oh,
wonderful.
Girl, I've been here. Yeah.
Sick.
Yes, I have done this before. And whenever I have raised my prices, most of the time, because I work with like kind of left-leaning women, a lot of the times they're like, "Good for you."
Yes. Oh, we love that. We love that.
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, no, I mean that's amazing because like you clearly have good relationships with your customers then, right? Which makes sense because you're awesome. So like I get it. But like that's wonderful. Let me introduce you to a potentially new way to think about this. Okay. Those people are price anchored, right? In my original example, we said, this is ridiculous, but like, they're price anchored at $500, right? If you potentially introduced your business to someone who is not familiar with that price point, you could price anchor them at a different price, right? So you could say you could set the new reality for this new person that, hey, my time is worth $1,000 an hour, right? Or maybe a more realistic number, but whatever. We're using the metaphor. My time is worth $1,000 an hour, right? And so they now you have a new set of people who, where now you're level up, Emily, right? Like you're fucking Emily LLC now. They, maybe you have a business name. I don't know. And you do have a business name, which is, I know it is in here.
Okay, I kind of don't like it, but It's fine. It's
Body love therapy. Why don't you like it?
I don't know. It's just like something dumb I picked.
Why? Tell me
I
more
mean,
about that.
Like it kind of doesn't matter. It's just for like taxes and shit.
I disagree. I think it does matter. And I think that this is illustrative of a larger point, which is you are not focused on customer acquisition, which I hope you don't take as a rude thing. But I think that I really like the name Body Love Therapy because I think that it implies, to me, Body Love Therapy is a business about body image. It's a business about learning to love your own body and that sort of thing. Is that kind of where the business started, or am I wrong?
Absolutely. Totally. 1000%. And also, I mean, I guess my thoughts on loving your body have changed. Like sometimes that's not always like the goal. I don't always love my body, that kind of thing.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. That's growth. That's growth, right? So maybe
I don't hate it, but
no,
it's like
but maybe you've outgrown it, right? Maybe you've outgrown it and now it feels inauthentic, right? So
yeah.
So you're talking to a marketing person. I love marketing so much. Like I love it so much. I'm a weirdo about it, right? Because I think it's like a perfect blend of like psychology and like ethereal theory shit, and then but also like deep like human behavior change, right? It's like how do you fucking actually grab somebody by the balls and like make them do what you want to do, right? Without being evil, right? Like like how can you guide them to the action that you want without like selling your soul, right? Like that is a fascinating problem to me. So one thing that I would probably recommend is, working on that, right? Like iterate with ChatGPT, right? Like, hey, interview me. Like I love ChatGPT. I think that you know that. We've talked a lot about it.
I also love it. Yeah.
It's wonderful. I would start with a prompt that's something like, hey, my original business was called Body Love Therapy. My ideas around that have completely changed. And instead, what I want you to do is I want you to ask me a dozen interview questions, one at a time. And by the way, I love the non-advanced voice mode chat function inside of the mobile app, inside of ChatGPT. You can go into your settings, you can turn off advanced voice mode. Advanced voice mode is dog shit. And I don't like it. I'm on team normal voice mode. I don't know if this is a debate, but if it is, I'm on that team. Um, this is probably not an online conversation, but we're making it one. Team standard voice mode.
It's the advanced voice mode.
Advanced voice mode drives me nuts because they do like real-time processing of replies, right? And where standard voice mode essentially does a transcription of what you just said, and then it feeds it into the 4.0 model, the transcription. Then it generates the text, and then it reads that text aloud, right? Advanced voice mode doesn't do that. It just responds and processes the audio and then does the audio response synthesized. I think that's my understanding. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Somebody in the comments, please correct me if you know and I don't. Because I'd love to know. But anyway, I think that standard voice mode.
Don't be
What'd you say?
Yeah, don't be
You can be mean. No, I mean it's the internet. People are mean. It's okay. Like, I don't know, be a little mean, but try to be mean, like, and respectful. Like,
If you're mean, I'll downvote you.
Yes. Fuck yeah. Thank you, Emily. Also, I'm sorry I'm talking so much. I did drink half a pot of coffee and yeah.
You are a verbal processor.
I appreciate that. I love speaking is my favorite. It really is. It is my favorite. Cool. Okay. We've spent a long time on this topic, but I think that it's very important. So, just to distill my advice, I think that I'm sorry. Let's talk about that prompt that we were talking about, right? So you feel like you've a little bit outgrown the original name of your business, right? What I would recommend is I would do a very long series or I would do like a 30-minute interview with ChatGPT where it asks you interview questions one at a time. You should say something like, when you're in standard voice mode in the mobile app, you should say something like, hey, let's do call and response, right? Because I can't make sure it's only asking you one question at a time, and then it's using active listening techniques to like really absorb what you're saying. And then at the end, what you should do is you should say, hey, cool. Now that we've done this 20-minute conversation where you've interviewed me about how my thoughts and ideas have developed about my business since its inception, since my original name, Body Love Therapy, can you describe and make a synthesis about the things that I've learned since I've started this 7 years ago and the way that my mindset has shifted? And then once we've had that conversation, can you help me generate like 10 potentially decent names for my new business, right? That feel more in line with what my goals are and what I'm trying to do, right? And then you pick your favorite one. And then if all 10 suck, then you do 10 more. That's kind of how I would approach that problem. Fair?
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that, but that's like I don't know. I'm very deep into process, and I think that that's the process that I really like.
Sure.
Sick. Cool. Then also I think definitely raise your existing prices again. But then also if you focus on customer acquisition, you will attract a new audience of people that are price anchored at a higher perceived price than what you currently charge. Then with your new clients, I would also make sure to set that bar very high, right? Like, and I would, if you feel guilty about that, I would really recommend like staring those feelings in the face and saying, why do I feel guilty about this, right? I want to change people's lives, right? How much is that worth to them, right? What is the type of client that I want to work with look like, right? How can I make the narrative of my business make sense, right? Like what types of jobs? Let's talk about this right now. What types of jobs do your ideal clients have, or do you not think about it in that way?
No, I definitely do. Yeah, I
So what
definitely.
types of jobs?
Usually, I get a lot of helping professions. Like I actually get a lot of women in STEM, and
Awesome.
they like struggle with being in male dominated industries, and that comes up a lot. Yeah, those kind of things. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I mean, like that, like I think that the story that you tell yourself and that the story that other people understand about your business informs those feelings of guilt, right? If you're thinking to yourself, my business is for wealthy women in STEM, right? Then you're not going to feel guilty about charging too much money, right? Because you know that they think that that's reasonable, you know. Now that sorry, what?
People who are in like education or helping professions also, or those kinds of things where they have less flexibility with
Sure.
their income, like that's the majority of who I work with.
Got it. Got it. So maybe, I mean, these are all pricing decisions that you need to think about on your own, right? And I don't have all the answers, and I wish I did. By the way, if you ever figure out how to have all the answers, please let me know because I would love to have them all. What?
Let us all know. Yeah.
Be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, no, I think that I think that everyone should think very intentionally about the type of business that they want to have, right? This is very important with like, I did a lot of legal marketing earlier in my career, which there are some other tenets from legal marketing that I think you could also benefit from that we'll talk about in this next section here. But I think that I think about thinking about the type of like your ideal prospect is very important, right? Like, it sounds like it's a woman in STEM who is probably dealing like, and by the way, once you know that, and then you're focused on marketing, you can develop marketing acquisition channels that specifically cater to that type of a person, right? What would that person be watching on TikTok, right? What would that person want to hear about in a blog post, right? If you can start curating your messages to that type of an audience, by the way, that might not be the right thing for you to do. So like, so think about if that's right for your business or not. But yeah, I would recommend designing a ideal customer profile, and then that will help you inform your marketing.
That was the very first thing I ever did for my business.
Hell yeah.
I gave her a name. I gave her a profession. I was like, this is what these are the things she wants to talk about in therapy.
Hell yeah. When's the last time you did that?
Oh, it's been a while actually since I did that. Maybe like 7 years.
Wow. See, I think it's time to sit back down and say, okay, I've evolved a little bit. I'm no longer Charmander. I'm Charmeleon or Charizard now.
Yes, I'm Charizard.
Let's go. What kind of clients does Charizard fight or, help? Like, this is why I'm not a therapist, because I view it as fighting. No, cool.
Sometimes it feels like that.
Losing clients isn't failure. It's an opportunity to refine your business, right? That's one of the potential reframes in here. Pricing isn't about pushing people away. It's about making room for the right clients. That said, like, I also think that those like those good moral, ethical beliefs about caring about your clients, that's the reason why you have success, right? So treat those people well and make sure that you don't screw them over. That, I think that people, one of my biggest gripes in business is that people don't talk about ethics nearly enough, right? Like we live in a disgusting system that fucks people all the time. And so don't become that. Don't become scum, right? Like money is not worth your humanity. That's one of my guiding beliefs, right? Retain your humanity because you got to live for 80 years, right? You got to live with yourself. So fucking that's important. Cool. We're going to move on to the next topic. Sound good to you?
Sounds
Sick.
good.
Here we go. Expanding your business without losing authenticity. Emily, what do you think about marketing? What do you think about sales? What do you think about sales and marketing? Do those sound like bad words to you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I guess my feelings about them have changed over time. I see them as like kind of like necessary to do the work that I want to do. Like I guess I used to like resist it.
Interesting. Tell me more about that. Tell me about those feelings of resistance.
I think I would just be like, oh, that's too like therapy is a little bit I can't market. Which now I have a very different idea of that. But I don't know. I guess I don't know. Do you have any specific questions? I don't know.
Yeah. What specifically? So you say you now have a different mindset. Your thinking has changed and evolved. So articulate to me your thoughts around marketing and your current approach and your current feelings and thoughts towards it in the highest level that you can. Just speak to it. Just see what comes out.
Okay. Well, one of the reasons why I have a lot of inquiries come in through uh Psychology Today is because I figured out that they prioritize your profile if you change your stuff like weekly. So if you
Awesome.
change your profile weekly, they will like put you up at the top. And so I don't do it every week, but I do try to be pretty consistent with it just so like they realize like, hey, this is an active profile and they're gonna like prioritize my profile over other people who have had the same information for like 6 months.
I love that. I love that.
And so I'll also do like a little bit of like tweaking here and there about like what my profile says of like the type of person I'm looking for, the type of therapy that I like to do. So yeah.
Cool. So you found a tactic where if you update your profile regularly on Psychology Today, that will usually increase your number of impressions, and the website will prioritize you because they see you're an active profile.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I love that. And it seems like that to you does not feel like a negative thing, right? It's just like it's like a harmless, like, it's like an optimization that doesn't hurt anybody, but instead it's a task that you can do that is going to potentially allow you to provide value to potential new customers. And so that's not gross, right? Now, can you give me an example of something that might seem gross, like something disgusting that like you'd be like, that's the wrong approach for my business? Do you have anything like that?
Like offering up any cures. Like I
Okay.
cure your depression if you work with me.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
I do think that is unethical. Like
Yeah.
legit. But
Do you see people do that? Is that something that you've seen in the market?
I haven't seen people do that. I've heard people talk about it on like podcasts and stuff that, oh, I've cured people's narcissism and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Yeah, okay.
narcissist.
That's really funny. A narcissist curing other people's narcissism, thinking that they're curing it. That's so funny. I love it. That's awesome. Look at me.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that because I like I said, I think it is unethical, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then maybe you don't. I from reading your report, I assumed that you might have had some potential ethical hangups or like feelings about guilt or shame around sales and marketing, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Is that correct?
Not really. No.
Cool. Okay.
I mean, in the beginning, yeah, but not.
Sure, but not anymore. Wonderful. That's great. Then I think that the next step is so that's wonderful, right? So I guess there's like maybe a scale that maybe this is negative thoughts about sales and marketing, right? And then maybe this over here is positive thoughts about sales and marketing. Okay. So potentially you're not over here, but maybe you're in the middle where you're like, sales and marketing is a necessary evil, maybe not evil, but it's necessary to grow my business. Do you feel kind of like in the middle about it a little bit?
I do. I almost said that exact phrase, but I don't actually think it's evil.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
It doesn't feel evil to me to like put out there like, hey, I want to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So let's do this. So my goal right now, and I'm just going to tell it to you, is what if we went from, you're not here, you're in the middle. If we went all the way to positive, right? Like what would that look like, right? If you saw this not as a necessary evil, right, which is not fully descriptive, but if you saw it as the opposite, actually, if you saw this as something that is morally and ethically good for you and your business and for your mission, right? Like what does that look like? What could it potentially be?
I don't know.
Yeah, I do. Can I share?
You know. Okay.
Yeah, I do know. So I know you decently well, Emily. We've talked a lot about a bunch of different things, and you seem really cool. It seems like you've been through, and by the way, we can cut anything from this, but it seems like you've been through a lot of shit. Is that
I've
fair?
been through all. Yes, absolutely. You don't have to cut that. That is front for
Got it. Maybe we do have to cut some of this part, and let me know if we do. You mentioned specifically your relationship with your father. It seemed like that was not. Do we have to cut that?
No.
Okay, got it. You said it seemed like that might be some difficulty that you've been through, right? And I'm sure that there are dozens of other situations from your life, right? And I assume, because I know you a little bit, that like you have grown a ton from where you probably started, right?
Yeah.
And though that growth was probably difficult and horrible at times, right? And emotionally distressing, right? And I bet that growth has allowed you to help change the lives of people that you've currently worked with. Is that true?
For sure.
Can you, without giving me details that will violate certain laws, can you tell me about a story that like you've helped somebody with and changed their life in a certain way?
Around my stuff?
Yeah, maybe potentially a story specifically where like your life experience informed what you said to another person dealing with something potentially similar, and then how did that help them make progress on that thing? Maybe that would be a very good example. If nothing like that comes to mind though, then anything will work.
Well, I'm thinking of like literally 50 bazillion situations.
So cool. Just pick one, but be vague because I think that we'll break HIPAA if we.
Yes,
Okay.
I do know how to be vague and
Beautiful.
broad strokes talk about things. Yeah.
Beautiful. So tell me one of those stories.
Well, I guess I could just speak like in general.
No, I want one specific. I'm an asshole. Give me one very specific because I love details, right? Details are so important, but HIPAA safe details, right? Like pick one. Pick the first one that comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
A situation where something from your life influenced what you said to another person and your guidance helped them make progress in their life. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Oh, well, recently, again, broad strokes. Someone I've been working with for a while had their partner cheat on them in this very like drastic kind of pussy way. Literally last week. And I was like just sitting with them and feeling their feelings with them, and I was just noticing some things coming up for me around needing to tell them about what I was observing in their partner. And um I think I've done this with you. I've said, "Can I be honest with you? I'm having something kinda come up for me, and it's gonna be really candid." And I've learned to do that because I've learned that I have this gift of being able to, like, see something very, very clearly. And I know that sometimes giving voice to that can like be so strong it'll like singe someone's eyebrows off, you know? Um, and so I have learned to ask for permission before saying certain things.
I love that. And by the way, I have one of my favorite things that a person has ever said. This is an aside, and I don't mean to cut off your story, but one time I got into kind of a fight with one of my friends, and I felt deeply betrayed by them. And I literally was like, "Hey, this happened," and I gave him a bulleted list of like everything that happened and then what I assumed their intent was at each stage. And I'm like, and I believe it's because this shaped your experience of how you approached this, and it made me feel like this, and therefore I feel this way towards you. And what he wrote back was, he was like, everything that you just said was spot on, and I feel deeply ashamed and deeply seen in the most uncomfortable way I've ever felt in my life, and we need to not speak for 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, yeah, I hear what you're saying is like, yeah, that's a very powerful thing that you need to, asking permission to share that that's a very good tactic. So yeah, I don't know.
Yes. Actually, I learned that weirdly. You would think I would learn that from like a clinical moment, but I actually learned that. Do you know John Deloney?
Yeah, I love John
Yeah,
Deloney.
I
John
love
Deloney
him.
fucks, dude. John Deloney, like, he probably wouldn't enjoy that. He'd probably be like, "Ah, yes, I Christian,
I do
I
fuck. I do fuck only with my wife.
missionary." Like, fuck, dude. Oh man, I really want to see John Deloney say, "Yeah, I fuck." Like, like, could you imagine? It'd be the most surreal thing in the world. I met George Camel, and he's like the fucking. I love him so much. George Camel's getting weird on his Instagram, and it's my favorite. Do
Oh,
you know George? I love
yeah,
George so
I've
much.
seen him. Yeah, I've seen him.
He's really starting to embrace his sense of humor, and
I
I hope that I've had some small impact on that, because I think I have a little bit, but I don't know. He's never really said that to me, but I think I did, because we had some conversations where I think I don't
okay.
know. Maybe
Well,
I'm wrong.
contagious. You're like crazy. Your crazy, chaotic energy is contagious. Yeah.
I like that a lot. You worked with a client who will remain fully anonymous and HIPAA compliant that was going through a situation with a cheater. And you, sorry, maybe that's a bad label for a person, someone who might have had some infidelity issues.
They fucking cheated. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Sure. Cool. But maybe they're dynamic. Maybe they're going through their own, I don't know, never mind. Like, isn't it bad to like label people as things and be like, you're a cheater forever? Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah. Yeah, sure.
I
But
don't know. Never mind.
like, yeah, I guess like people first language or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. You
Person
cheated. You did
did
not, you're not a cheater. Yeah.
bitch cheater. Yeah.
Sure. Not a murderer, a person who committed murder.
I identify as a person who committed murder. Thank you.
Not a murderer. Let the record show. Sick. Okay. But basically you helped them through a situation where they were dealing with somebody who cheated on them, and you were able to provide them guidance. Yeah. Cool. So my thought is that if you were to move your needle of feelings about marketing away from negative, which you've already done, into neutral, and you move them away from neutral into positive, in my opinion, like, Emily, there are things that you know about how to deal with infidelity and how to survive through infidelity that there are many people on this planet who do not know. That, like, I don't have a very refined understanding of how to deal with that and cope with that emotionally and tell myself a story that makes that okay. And I don't know how to proceed in my life in a way that, like, is non-destructive if somebody decides to cheat on me, right? Like, I don't know what the fuck I would do, right? I have no idea, actually. That's actually a really good point. I have no fucking idea. What is a good idea to do, Emily? What is, like, if you had to boil down your advice into one bullet, what do I do?
That's a good point, because this person actually asked me, like, through her tears, she was like, can we have a short-term plan for how I move through this? I was like, oh, of course.
I love that. Quick bullets. I'm actually serious. What do I do? Like, I don't know. Like,
no. Truly, like, treat yourself as a house plant. Like, make your life really simple. Make sure you're drinking water, make sure you're eating, make sure you're going outside, make sure you're doing your tasks for the day. Like, really, like, pare your life down to the bare bones. And especially after like a traumatic event, like someone cheating on you, like a betrayal like that, like you have to understand that your body is going through a transformation of sorts where it's kind of like absorbing the shock of whatever just happened to you. And so you have to like kind of be ready for having a wide range of feelings, ranging from I hate myself, I hate people, I hate everyone to I want to fuck this person to I want to like, you know, sadness, grief, happiness, relief, and just know that all of those feelings are normal. All
So
of those are
so
normal.
make your life very simple and make sure that you are doing self-care in a very simple way, and then also prepare for a massive change and a massive transition of your emotional like well-being. Is that fair?
Totally, totally.
Got it. Cool. So that right there, Emily, is an example of, in my opinion, the benefit of moving your feelings about marketing from neutral to positive, right?
Okay.
Because that information that you just shared with me, one, genuinely, I will not forget it, and it will potentially help me in the future if that ever happens to me. And fuck, I hope it doesn't. I am talking to this
Oh,
very cute girl on Bumble, and I really don't want her to cheat on me if we ever do meet up. But she will not text me back, and I am trying to play it cool, and I have anxious attachment, and I really want her to text me back. And she likes Star Wars, and I love Star Wars. And she was like, instead of going for drinks, we should build Legos in her profile. And I'm like, fuck. That's the coolest person ever, and I wish she would text me back, but she hasn't. We were talking about marketing. If you take your feelings about marketing and you take them from neutral into overwhelmingly positive, right? And you believe on some level that the sun shines out of your ass like a fucking spotlight, right? And you're like, my life experience and my clinical knowledge, I would describe these as unknown knowns, okay? I think that you should, another potential ChatGPT exercise that you could do is, hi ChatGPT, I have, through my clinical practice, I have a lot of unknown knowns, things that I know intuitively based off of my life experience and based off of my years of clinical practice, right? These are things that I know intuitively that I'm not aware that I'm not fully consciously aware that I have a lot to say about them that
yeah,
could
yeah.
potentially help people,
Like,
right?
like what I just said about taking care of yourself and
Exactly. Exactly. That's common sense to you because you're amazing at what you do. That is not common sense to everyone, right? And that's what I've discovered about myself as well, right? Like I have for over a decade, I have fallen on my face trying to make businesses work, okay? And like and so and I realized that like even since like I was a child, I have essentially been doing this, right? Like when I was a little boy, I was a Boy Scout and I wanted to win the chocolate bar selling competition, right? So I had to develop strategies of how to sell more chocolate bars. And I was like, fuck, okay, well, you need people and I need to look cute and I need the right type of people, which is usually parents. So I'm like, fuck, how do I get a bunch of parents who are a captive audience and how do I look as cute as possible? And so my father and I came up with this plan where I would don my Cub Scout uniform and we would go to soccer fields. And during the Saturday morning soccer games with all the captive parents who are watching their shitty little kid kick a ball, I'd march up to them with my silly outfit on and be like, hey, do you want to buy any chocolate for $1? And fuck me, dude. Everybody's going to buy a
oh,
chocolate bar from the little shit. So, but it's like that's a story that's just I took for granted, right? But it's this knowledge that I find implicit that is actually deeply potentially valuable to the right person, right? So my thought is, Emily, is that you should
put on
uncover.
outfit.
Yeah, you should put on a Girl Scout outfit and go door to door and sell cookies. Fuck yeah,
All
dude.
right.
This
Call over.
podcast is gonna be sick. This
Podcast
podcast
over.
is this
Thank
podcast is awesome. Also, we should like I don't know, at some point. We're lagging. Is it on my end?
you.
Oh no, there we go. Sick. At some point, maybe we should have you ever heard the podcast No Stupid Questions?
Stupid questions.
It's a fantastic podcast.
Yeah.
It used to be with Stephen Dubner and Angela Duckworth. Wonderful podcast. And then they like broke
The
up.
Duckworth Like Grit?
Yes, Grit. Yes. My favorite female author. Fantastic. Love Angela Duckworth so much. They used to co-host a podcast called No Stupid Questions, and it'd be really fun to directly rip them off and do our own version of that. But that's
I
just
would be so down.
hell yeah. Sick. And maybe it's about psychology, and maybe it helps you market your business. That said, I'm also extremely busy, so like that's something that we need to consider as well. But I love to talk. So if anytime you want to start a podcast with me, you just give me a phone call. Cool. My thought is that okay, I have kind of a woo-woo conversation. Also, do you have a heart out, or can we just kind of keep
I do not. No,
Beautiful.
we are good. We're
beautiful? Because I feel like we're in the pocket, and I'm really enjoying where we're living right now.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I have some weird thoughts about content creation and identity. Can we talk about this for a little bit? I believe that there is this relationship between creating content on the internet and someone's own sense of identity. And I think that it's a snowball, right? I think you followed me on Instagram over the past couple of weeks. Do you think that there's been an evolution of my content a little bit since you've been there?
Sure.
A little bit, right? And I'm
Pokemon?
starting to just be like, okay, fuck it. Like, here's a very embarrassing situation from my life that like when I was 7 years old, I messed with this program on my computer and I thought I made Skynet. I thought I made a program that was going to kill everybody and was inherently evil because I watched Terminator when I was 7 and it deeply scared the shit out of me. And not the violence, but the idea that, oh my God, a robot, the wrong artificial intelligence program could ruin the world, right? And I internalized that idea at 7 years old. And then when I made this computer error, I thought to myself, oh my God, I've just ended the world because I had anxiety and whatever. A month ago, I would not feel comfortable sharing that story, right? But I've shared a lot of stories on Instagram, and therefore sharing that story today felt a little bit embarrassing, but it also felt very natural, right? And I think that it's because my own internal sense of identity has developed after posting more stories, and I start to conceptualize myself as a storyteller and that sort of thing. Do you have anything to say about that? Is that supported in some of your work potentially, or am I crazy?
Yeah, no. I mean, like, it sounds like expression is like kind of creating this like feedback loop of like, oh yeah, that is who I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that I don't know. Do you have any clients potentially who have experienced things like that, like people who have started to find their own in like art or anything like that? Or maybe I'm reaching.
Sure. I feel like I think I told you this. I do have a little bit of like a niche of content creators that I really like working with. Because they tend to be like very motivated and very like just interesting, complex people. I'm looking at my bookshelf because I have someone who wrote a book and thanked me in the acknowledgments, which was
That's very cool.
I can't read it without crying. It's like so cool. It's like the coolest thing ever.
I don't think that you identify right now as like in your self-concept, I don't think that you identify yourself as like an author or a publisher or a content creator or a thought leader. Would you agree or disagree with that judgment?
I agree.
You would agree with that. So I think that like if you want to, I think that your bottleneck right now is that limiting belief, right? I am not this type of person, right? I am not a content creator. I am not an author. I am not a publisher. I think that if you worked on that and and by the way, I don't think that you work on that by being like, what do I think about myself? What's the best thing for me to think about myself? I don't think that's the right way to do it, right? I think it's like, no, like the way you create your identity is you build the plane in the air, right? You said you've done some improv stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did.
So a saying from improv is jump off the cliff and figure it out on the way down, right? Like fucking post it. Post it, dude. Post it. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Yes, it's going to be bad. That is the cost of playing. That is the cost of entering the arena is Cringe Mountain. There's a TikTok that I really like about Cringe Mountain. Have you heard of Cringe Mountain before?
No.
You have to climb Cringe Mountain, okay? And the way you climb Cringe Mountain is you start at the bottom and it's shitty and it's cringy and you post a Pokemon Let's Play that gets 10 views, right? And it fucking sucks, okay? But then you post the next one and that one sucks a little bit less, right? Or maybe it sucks almost just as much because like you haven't done the suffering of really staring it in the face and being like, why does this suck so much? Because too much of that will stop you, so you can't do that too much, right? But you build this snowball of just like, I'm gonna, and for a month, you just set a cadence, you set a content calendar. Maybe you do like a batch, right? Actually, don't batch it. Do it one at a time. Do it fucking bespoke, right? Uh, you know, and and
Are
I'm
you talking about
telling you, what'd you
writing?
say?
Are you
What'd you
talking
say?
about my writing? Is that
I'm
what you're
talking about everything. Now, I think that the writing needs to be, I think that immediately with your writing, I think that right now, I would take that BetterHelp time. I would literally stop BetterHelp right now. If it doesn't endanger your vacation. Right. I would literally shut it down like next week. If you can afford to do that, that's what I
No,
would do.
it's not afford, it's not the business. It's
It's
like,
the people.
oh my
Sure,
people.
sure. And by the way,
Yeah.
don't abandon them, right? Like I'm
Oh,
exaggerating, and it's easy for me to say. Because I'm not in those relationships, right? Do what is right for you and treat those people well, right? But if it were me, I would transition as quickly as reasonable into getting back that time. And then the first task that I would do with that time is schedule every piece of writing that you have right now, even if it feels disgustingly personal, right? I would schedule all of those things to go up onto something, right? And that's the first thing, right? Because like once you start to like take away the fear of that, it will become easier and then it will just become mundane, right? Like, it's not this big scary thing. What are people gonna think? Ooh, no, it's just like it's Monday and it's time to post. Like, that's like we're going to work. Casey Neistat has a thing where he's like, I used to treat filmmaking as, by the way, he quit. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, but he's like, I used to treat filmmaking as this precious thing. And then I just treated it as like, okay, everybody else is going to a 9 to 5. Fucking, I need to show up to work, right? There's a book that I would highly, highly recommend called The War of Art. You should read this book. Or listen to the audiobook. The audiobook is fantastic. It's got some very corny music in it, and I absolutely love it. But he has a lot of ideas in there that talk about I don't know if this is for sure not a word, but precious, right? Deprecious-izing, like making it less precious, right? Making it just like this is the work, right? Like I forgot exactly what he says, but he's like, like a soldier is gonna get into the muck and he's gonna hump, right? Like that's what he talks about. He's like humping is like
pumping.
slogging through the mud, right, and the muck in Vietnam to fucking make it through. I missed your sexual joke. Do you want to tell it?
No, 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 no.
Okay. Not that type of hump, everybody. But yeah, like he's like that's what being an artist is, right? I think that good business owners in 2025, personal branding is about making art, right? Good businesses make art. That is like that's one of the core functions of their marketing department, right? And if you started to conceptualize yourself as like an artist, a publisher, right, then that's going to do transformative things for your business and your marketing. The other thing is that I would get very, very clear about the potential impact that you could have, that your experiences could have on not only people in your target market, but in the world as a whole, Emily. Because like you are a very, very intelligent person. You know a lot about you just are like, you're very emotionally intelligent, but also like you have a high degree of crystallized intelligence, of which I can clearly see.
Wow, thank you.
Absolutely. And I think that like your thoughts could genuinely impact people's lives in a very powerful way. And I think the more that you convince yourself of that, the more you will get out of your own way and begin to publish your ideas and share them with people. And I think the faster you do that, the faster you're going to develop this sense of like identity of like, oh fuck, like I'm a helper, right? Like, which that's probably what you think, but you probably think of it as I help people one-on-one in deep ways.
I see it as like I'm like this self-sacrificer, and I kind of want to drop that a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay.
Now,
What do you want to drop it for? I'm no longer Emily, the self-sacrificer. I'm gonna transform like a Pokemon. I'm going to evolve. So yeah, okay, let's talk about it. Instead of this self-sacrificer where you're carving off pieces of your soul and handing them out to people, what if instead you are, I don't know what feels right, but do you know have you ever read the book Aragon?
No, I have not.
It's really good. I love it. Okay, maybe Aragon's not a good example. Okay, have you seen Lord of the Rings?
I have, yes.
Okay, or how about Star Wars?
I do know Star Wars, yes.
Star Wars, cool. There's a book that I would also recommend called Building a Story Brand. I really love.
Yeah.
Wonderful. They talk about positioning yourself. They talk about at the beginning of everybody's business journey, everybody conceptualizes themselves as Luke Skywalker, right? Because that's what we do. That's, we're the main character in our own minds, right? And he's like, what makes a good business is no longer conceptualizing yourself as Luke Skywalker. Instead, you are Yoda, right? Like, and so do you think that Yoda thinks about himself as like a self-sacrificer? Do you think that that's what he conceptualized as he's training Padawans? What do you think Yoda's mindset is like?
Well, Yoda is based off of Buddhism, and let's see. Self-sacrificer. No. You know what? I really love this like moment in one of the later movies where I forget the context, but he's like talking to, maybe it's Luke Skywalker. I can't remember. But anyway, there's this big scene where like the book of Jedi is like, like caught on fire or whatever, and people are like, oh my god, like there was such wisdom in the book, like, and Yoda's like, fuck it off, like.
Yeah, he's like, you don't need the written down wisdom. You are way more important, Luke, than all of the wisdom that just burnt in the tree. I know exactly the scene that you're talking about. Yes. Wonderful scene.
He says, failure, most of all, the greatest teacher of failure is, right? And then he says, that like the people, basically he says, the people that we're teaching, like the young Padawan, are going to become better than us. Like that's the burden of all masters, is like we are who they grow beyond, or something like that. And
I love that. I love that. Hell yeah. So I personally, like, I'm a very weird person, and I really, really love stories and fiction. And so I really believe that like the more you can understand about like these characters that you eventually want to grow into, the more you can empathize with them and their mindset, the more that will change your self-perception, right? Characters that I identify with, like I also think of, have you ever seen Kung Fu Panda? I really like Master Oogway. Do you know Master Oogway, the turtle guy?
I can't remember. No,
he's great. He has a lot of wonderful things to say about the Dragon Warrior, and how Jack Black was always the fat panda, was always the Dragon Warrior, and the scroll is blank and it's just him. Fantastic movie. Spoiler alert. That should probably come before the spoiler. But anyway, I think that if you really learn about these figures and you understand them and you understand their approaches to things, I think it can inform like your approach. So I think that, reframing that belief of like, I'm a self-sacrificer into more of like, I am Yoda, right? Like Yoda does not pay a cost every single time he trains a Padawan, right? Like instead, like he loves it. Right. He loves it, And he
loves it when they do better than him. That's kind of how I feel about the people I work with, is like, hey, I love it when you succeed, and not necessarily do better than me, but like you're happy in your life. That makes me happy. And actually, it's interesting. You would think that would mean that I would like lose them as clients. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's interesting. Today, I had someone be like, I'm in a really good place. Like I'm solid. I've been solid for like months now. I still want to keep talking to you because I love talking about like some of these other things that are going on. And we kind of found some like deeper things that I've never, almost 2 years at this point. And I'm like, we've never talked about this. And how would you feel about like starting this new chapter of our work together? And she was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
That's cool. I like that a lot. That's sick.
So
Very cool.
when people evolve and get better. Like that actually helps me as a person watching that and, being like, oh, I can evolve too.
Guys, if you would like to be my next guest on Chasing Dragons, go ahead and apply in the description down below. There's a Google form down there where you can tell me a little bit about your business and why you think you would be a good guest.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, I would try to work on. Here's how I would approach that is I would try to do the identity snowball thing of like that is the reframe, right? Of like, I am the helper. I will help you evolve, right? I will help you transform. And then I would start creating content around that, right? Whatever way that you possibly can. I'm like a video person. I specifically would recommend that you use TikTok. What I'm going to try to transition into my career is you don't like TikTok? You don't like that at all? You don't like being on camera? Got it. Okay, fair. Why not? Do you mind if I ask?
It's just like exposing, and I think as like a woman,
Sure.
like,
a lot of shitty misogynistic comments about appearance and like being fucking pricks. Got it.
I would be on a video podcast or whatever if like someone else did the work. I
Sure.
would totally do it. If I just showed up and was like, here I am, and then blah, I would totally do that. But as far as like me doing the work, I used to have an Instagram back before the algorithm completely changed into more like TikTok. And I loved creating stuff on there. Loved it. It was so much fun.
Wonderful. I would for sure definitely do that again. Like, if you have a so in marketing this is called like a channel, right? And like and Gary Vaynerchuk, by the way, who I think is deeply flawed and like also like very anti-intellectual and like very like fucking one of Gary V's worst takes was, I never want to go to therapy because like whatever mindset I have right now is perfect, and if I fuck with it, it could endanger my wealth and success. And I heard him say that, and I'm like, oh, this person is a fearful intellectual child, like And so, but that was years ago, and I think that he's since hopefully seen some mental health professionals because his takes have evolved a little bit. Anyway, what were we talking about? One of his things is like every human being can communicate on the internet in a few different ways. You can communicate with video, you can communicate with written word, you can communicate with audio through a podcast. And then picture, right? Picture, written word, audio, and video. That's pretty much like the mediums that you can, and again, like, people have different senses, right? They have their ears and their eyes, and that's the ones that really use the internet super good. We haven't really done, taste or touch very well or smell with the internet. But maybe that will come at some point. Some smell-o-vision. Maybe you could be the first smell influencer, Emily, at some point.
Oh God, no.
Or maybe not. But anyway, so I would select a channel, right? If you feel very comfortable with photos, maybe it's photos and text. Maybe that works for you. I can speak forever. So long form video podcast is good for me. And yeah,
writing for me, writing, and I think I put in the like little thing that I sent you was like I want to read the pieces out loud because that's also how I like to
love it.
Content.
Sure.
And I think like the removal of me, like me, the visual, really would help me to
yeah.
Put
I think that's great. And I think you should start that immediately. I would take the hours that you save from BetterHelp and I would put them into that. I would then really work on so I would also, this is a little bit of a backtrack, but what I would do is I would start with your marketing immediately. I would immediately start creating. I would publish all those like posts. I would schedule them on the blog platform that you described. Then I would after you do that, then I would take ownership over my customer acquisition channel, right? You are currently using an external website that will fuck with you based on, like, they are not there to serve you. They are there to serve themselves, right? So what I would do is I would take noahchrysler.com. I would do I don't remember how to pronounce your last name. Capelli, EmilyCapelli.com. I would take EmilyCapelli.com. I would make a Squarespace or sorry, what?
It's up there.
It's up there. Sick. Let me go to it. Emily Capelli.
Or Body Love.
I love it. Oh, I love this. This is awesome. Look at you.
With my long hair. Try to get back there.
I love it.
Mhm.
This is great. Dude, the brain crochet is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
This is so cool. Do you have the brain crochet somewhere?
Um,
What is LPC? Life practitioner.
licensed professional counselor? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm dumb.
Oh, it's okay. You're not dumb. You're not dumb. You're not dumb.
I love this family dynamics. It's okay. You don't have to find it. I love this. Also, your aesthetic of your apartment seems really fucking cool. That eyeball pillow, I want that really bad.
Oh yeah, that's a fun thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I also just want more brain schematics on my walls and things. Anyway, cool. I love this website. I would try to I would go through. When's the last time you updated this website?
Oh, it's been a minute. Yeah.
Cool. I would compulsively use ChatGPT, and I would look at other top competitors in your niche. I would even ask ChatGPT to perform a search function. Have you used the deep research tool inside of ChatGPT 4.0?
I don't think so.
It's
No.
extremely cool. What I would recommend is you specifically do the deep research. It literally takes maybe like less than 5 minutes. It's amazing. You just say, "Hey, I'm going to redesign my therapy client acquisition website. This probably should be after you rename your business, right? I'm redesigning my website. What I want you to do is I want you to research best practices for designing therapy websites for sole proprietorships around this thing, and then generate me a comprehensive report based on multiple sources, and it will do all of the thinking for you. I think what people don't understand about these LLM technologies is that like essentially what you can do is you can like outsource thinking for like $20 a month, which is insane, right? Because like it's very freeing, right? And people look down on you for that, but they're dumb. So like, outsource the thinking, and then just use the insights, right? And then follow those insights. And so I would redo your website. I would also probably make a strategic plan so that you don't try to do all of these things at once. And there's also like diminishing returns, right? So like try to get it done in 10 hours, right? Instead of like, okay, this is a 100-hour project. No. 10 hours. I'm gonna take 2 weeks, redo the website. And then I'm going to focus on my marketing acquisition. I would put the link in your Instagram bio, and then I would start creating Instagram content or find a platform that you really like. I would probably set it up in a way where your website houses your blogs so that you can start getting like SEO to your website. SEO is a little bit slept on nowadays because most people are just using AI to generate slop. So like the Google algorithm has changed quite a lot. But I don't know the latest marketing tactics for that sort of thing because I've kind of transitioned into content creation, but there's probably evolving SEO tactics there. That's probably like a tactical implementation plan of what exactly I would do. Fair? Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a question that do you feel like you can tell when something is written by AI?
Sure. My way around that is just being very forward about it. And by the way, I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Like, and by the way, you're in the Patreon. I posted that blog post in the Patreon. Did you read that, or did you hate that because it was written with AI? It was about Seven Figure Agency. The
Oh,
book.
I saw it, but I did not. I did.
You did
I did
not
not
read
read.
it. Interesting. It's also a boring marketing book. So like I assumed that people they were not going to be interested in that. But I wrote that with ChatGPT. I thought the writing was very good, but at the same time, like, and then in the comments, I'm like, hey, FYI, this was written with ChatGPT. I do think people can tell ChatGPT uses a lot of dashes, right, in sentences. That's one very clear indicator that this is written with ChatGPT. That said, I also think it's just one of the best communication tools that's quite literally ever been invented. And so I think that you should
Yeah.
figure out a way to use it in a way that feels natural to you, where it's
Yeah.
not awful. We've been going for a very long time. I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like I can tell. And I feel like, I guess as a writer, for me, like, I don't use it for writing because to me, like, what's kind of special about like human writing is that it's flawed. Like, there's
Sure.
kind of like when you read something that like a human being wrote, like, even maybe your Instagram post or whatever, right? Like, you talking about Charizard or whatever the fuck. Like, like it's gonna be in your voice.
Sure.
You know, and with like ChatGPT, it's not in kind of anyone's voice. It's in like a robot voice. And
Yeah.
I feel like I can tell.
Sure. No, and by the way, I'm going to get destroyed in the comments. Like, people are going to be like, "Oh, Noah turns out AI slop and fucking blah blah blah." And like
and I will downvote you.
Anybody can say whatever the fuck they want. It's fine. I completely agree with you, right? There's idiosyncrasies to people's speech patterns and their writing habits that are deeply ingrained in them because of their human experiences, right? But I think that also like part of marketing and part of doing anything is scale, right? Like, and so what I'm not saying is only do ChatGPT gobbledygook bullshit, right? That is not what I am saying, right? That is bad. Like, AI slop is bad always, right? Like unintentional art is usually shitty, right? But my advice is like that's a tool. You can misuse a hatchet or a hammer or a chisel, right? Like you can destroy something with a chisel, right? But you can also carve the statue of David with a chisel, right? And so what I usually recommend is like, maybe have it do the outline, but you do the writing, right?
That's
Or
usually what I end up doing. Yeah.
exactly. So I think that that's a very good thing, but also that takes time, right? So for some of my Patreon stuff, it's like I'm experimenting. I'm like, hey, okay, here's just the ChatGPT output. The way I usually do it is I do a verbal interview and then I have it generate kind of like a really good punchy thing that synthesizes all of my thoughts from the interview into that thing, right? And that's usually a better product than anything that I could come up with by myself because like I don't know, because it's a lot of thought synthesized into very succinct phrasing. I hope this wasn't too long. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. Let's also go. So basically, the last one was overcoming the fear of publishing and using writing as a business asset. We've talked all about this, right? Essentially, I think that if you can start that snowball, if you can jump off the cliff and figure it out on the way down, right? When you post something, there's naturally going to be fear and insecurity that's in your mind that is going to make your content evolve over time and make it better, right? That's actually a fantastic process that will make you fucking unstoppable. So my advice is to start literally as soon as possible. And yeah, cool. So let's go back through what we've talked about today. Any thoughts, comments, and concerns before we do a summary at the end here? General impact of the conversation so far.
I think good. I think I'm like leaving with some like tangible stuff. Learning that BetterHelp is only 13% of my income is atrocious and really makes me want to quit. So yeah. So I think I have a lot of like tangible things that I'm taking with me today.
Beautiful.
And I knew that was gonna happen. Yeah.
Wonderful. Cool. Just as a summary here, we talked about transitioning away from BetterHelp, raising your prices without fear, and then also doing new customer acquisition strategies to attract new clients, and price anchoring them at a higher level than your existing clients, which will hopefully increase your revenue. Expanding your business without losing authenticity. We actually didn't get into one of the big key tenets of here. Emily, one thing I'm not sure that you are fully cognizant of is that almost all of your revenue generation strategies that you mentioned in your report, they directly involve selling your time for money. Does that make sense? And have you heard that before?
Time for money. Like service-based
Yeah.
business? Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense, and you're like, yeah, fucker, like that's the whole thing, like that's the fucking, I'm a therapist, bitch. Sorry, that was you speaking to me. I would never call a woman a bitch.
I understand you were not calling me a bitch. Yes,
exactly. No, I was calling myself a bitch as you. It was a whole thing.
You're allowed to call me a bitch if I'm being a bitch.
No, I don't want to do that ever. God, even when women are being that way, you don't say that because that's misogynistic. Fuck. Maybe we cut that, Michael, or maybe we leave it in. It's metal to leave it in. I think a big part of business. I would recommend the book $100 Million Offers. I would recommend actually the 7-Figure Agency book also gets into this. But like a big part of what business is trying to create leverage, right? If all of your revenue generation mechanisms are directly tied to your time as the denominator, right? It's not actually the denominator. I guess it would be more of a multiplication, but let's call it the denominator for now. Because I don't know. I guess one of the products. I guess it's the product. The product is the two multiplication factors. Let's call it a factor. It's a factor. If your time is one of the primary factors of your revenue generation equation, right? Time sold versus cost of time sold equals revenue, right? If that is the only equation that is generating revenue for your business, then the limiting bottleneck on the revenue of your business is your time, right? And so one of my recommendations would be to have extensive conversations with ChatGPT about, hey, be an outside business professional who can help give me consultation ideas about my business and potentially helping me think about new revenue channels for my business, right? And try to one very helpful thing is, hey ChatGPT, try to help me develop wisdom and help me understand what I am not seeing about this situation, and point out to me potential opportunities to grow my business's revenue. Right. Some ideas from my perspective are, you could create and sell digital products. Right. You could create Emily's, and by the way, like, you might have hangups about individual things like this, but there probably is a product of some kind that you would feel confident selling. But you could write a book, you could write a paid guide, you could write a something, right? You could write exercises for ChatGPT. You could write these things, right? You can make a collection of digital products that you could then sell, right? That's one potential avenue. Another potential avenue that a lot of people sometimes overlook is referrals, right? You could essentially say, "Hi, I'm Emily's Therapy Brand, your new therapy name, right? Body Body Love Therapy. Let's just use that for now, right? Hey guys, this is Body Love Therapy. This is what we stand for, right? You could start a business model where it's like, you are the face, right? And you bring in new clients and you do all the marketing and they know who you are. But then you could also work with additional therapists in your network that you really respect. And you could take 20%, or I don't know what the real number would be, but it's like, hey, I'm going to give you a client. Would you be cool with me taking 20% of this thing? We're going to charge a premium, which is going to offset the 20%, right? Because my brand is enhancing the value and bringing in new clients, right?
Like a group practice.
Exactly. So that, and there's probably, have you intentionally not done that? Sorry.
I have no interest in doing a group
Got it.
practice. That is like this. No offense to anyone who has a group practice, but that is like the
Bane of your existence.
Yeah.
Got it. Why?
Because it only is about profit.
Yeah.
Like, most people have a group practice and are doing it in a way that feels real yucky to me.
Yeah. And by the way, I am not pushing on that. I am not pushing on that. I think that
I'm just kind of saying, like, I've gone down this thought process before. Yeah.
So Emily, this is actually, like, in my opinion, because you have hangups about this, you are the exact correct person to start a business like this.
No.
And maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong, and that's potentially true.
You're probably right, but I'm not going to do it.
And that's fair. That's totally fair. But maybe it's something, maybe in 5 years from now, your thoughts change a little bit, right? But I guess, like, one potential thought exercise that you could do is like, okay, if I had to do this, what specifically and precisely do I think is so fucked about these other group practices, right? I'll give you a practical example from my actual life. Okay, for a very long time, I was considering starting an online dating advice type of a fucking thing, right? Either a show or a brand or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, there was so much internal resistance in my mind because I didn't want to be the fucking pickup artist, fucking scum fuck, like shill, manipulative scum fuck piece of shit that's like, hey, here's how you lie to women strategically to get them to fuck you, right? Like that. I didn't want to be that, right? And so much of that exists out there that, like, I was very afraid that if I made any content about dating, then I would immediately be pegged as, like, that guy.
Immediately be pegged. Yes.
I would immediately be pegged in a bad way with something way too big that um I would believe. Okay, uh my point being that like that's actually really good, right? That's those hangups are very good because it means that if you ever did something like that, you would know what you want to avoid, and it would actually give you a completely and totally differentiated fucking like stance in the market, right? It would completely and totally set your business apart from all these other piece of shit group practices, right? That fuck over the employees, that overcharge for services, right? You could figure out how to potentially do this in a way that you feel ethically comfortable with, right? I'm not saying that you should do that right now. I'm saying maybe in 5 years that could be a potential way that you could generate revenue. I'm sorry. This conversation was probably too long, and we're at the end of it, and I am like my brain is not working very well right now. So
You're good.
wonderful.
Yeah, you're just talking about getting pegged, so
Hey, I'll talk about that when I'm like at 100% too. I think that's always funny. Cool. And then we talked about overcoming the fear of publishing and using writing as a business asset. Beautiful. Emily, any final thoughts about this? What was your review of coming on Chasing Dragons as a guest? Any key takeaways that you liked that you're probably going to do? Anything that this helped you rethink about?
yeah. Yeah, super fun. It was fun talking about my business in a different kind of way. I feel like I got to see it in like a different angle, you know? I feel like I know it pretty well, but seeing it in a different angle with someone who like you got to see my numbers and all that stuff, which felt really exposing, but whatever.
I'm proud of you. That's fucking hard. That's like hard to do, and I'm proud of you. And I hope that you feel like I treated it with respect.
Oh, for sure.
Wonderful.
I knew you would. I knew you would.
Wonderful.
But yeah, I feel like I have some like tangible things to take away.
Wonderful. You also sent me a gift, and I haven't opened it yet. Should I open it on camera right now on this call?
Yeah,
It'd be really fun, wouldn't it? Okay, let's do that. Before then, or maybe we talk about it. I don't know. What, Emily? Why did you choose to support me on Patreon? That's my question to you.
Well, I felt really
Bad for me.
no,
Pity, Noah.
no.
Was it pity? It's out of pity.
No. It was
Oh.
no. No. I really liked the last kind of documentary that you did. I think it just like spoke to something that I already feel in me, and I was like, I was already like considering it honestly, and because I listened to the podcast, like the audio version, I was like,
Hell yeah.
yeah, I really like this.
Hell yeah. Did you listen to the Atomic Habits episode? Because I feel like that's wonderful because I felt like nobody listened to that. So that's super cool. That's sick.
Yeah. No, I did.
That's sick. I love that.
And I felt like I read the book. And so, yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I read the book, but I really didn't.
Hell yeah. That was the exact point of the fucking episode. Hell yeah, dude. That's sick.
So yeah, that's why I did it. That's why I did it.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Do you regret it?
And I wanted to be friends with you. That was
hell yeah. Sick.
Yeah.
Sick. Do you regret it?
No.
Beautiful. Do you believe in what I would like to do is I would like to create a community of people that comes together and works on improving their lives together, right? And I am launching a Discord. It's a private Discord community. I do think there's probably going to be like a public channel or a public set of channels where people can join for free. But like the real main benefit of the Discord is going to be behind the $5 a month paywall, right? But like there, I want it to be like extremely valuable for those people, right? Where it's like, hey, you have access to a community of people who are going to give a shit about your life and give you suggestions to potentially help you work on and improve the shit that you're trying to work on, whether it's a business, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your life, you know. And that's why I really value you as like a member of this community, Emily, because I feel like this is what you do all of the time, which is so amazing. And so thank you so much for being here. Your kitty is adorable. What's his name?
This is Midnight.
Oh, is he a boy?
He's a boy. Yeah, he's bad.
Very cute. He's very cute. So anyway, thank you so much, and I hope that you're excited about that. And I hope that that said, I also am not asking you to do unpaid work because I know that it sounds like work to like help people fucking change their shit. But I don't know. Thank you for being in the community, and I'm gonna go open your gift, guys. Quick plug before we do this. Guys, if you would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Noah Chrysler. There are 3 levels of support there. There's a $5 tier, a $15 tier, and a $25 tier. Go ahead and support with whatever you would like. And like, $5 will pretty much get you access to everything. But the $25 really helps me pay collaborators. Right now, all of your money goes to the editors of this show, as well as the show Brain Juice. Those are my 2 editors, Carla and Michael. They are wonderful people. Michael edited this conversation. I'm going to go get Emily's gift, and I'm going to try to not show her address or my address. So it's going to be kind of Michael might have to do some Gaussian blurs. Here we go. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm opening her up. Here we go. It has come in this wonderful package that Michael might have to blur the screen for. It's wonderful. So any context? Why did you send this to me?
Well,
I'm so excited. I was having kind of a bad week, and I talked to Emily about it, and then this arrived in the mail.
That is why. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. By the way, genuinely, thank you so much. Like you have no idea. You have no idea how much this means to me. I've been making shit for over a decade, and for the large majority of that time, nobody has given 2 fucks about it. Okay, so like you have no idea what this means to me. Thank you so much. Oh my God, they're all individually wrapped, and it's very, very awesome. Open last, hell yes. I'm gonna put it like that. Okay, I'm gonna open this one. This was at my parents' house, and my father forgot to deliver this to me about 6 times. Oh man, this is so well wrapped. Yo, pens are cool. Thank you so much. I love pens.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you so much. This is so sweet.
You're so welcome.
And then a notebook, a decomposition notebook, 100% post-consumer waste recycled packages.
Write your thoughts in.
This is awesome. This is genuinely so cool. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Write your thoughts in it.
I absolutely will.
Especially concerning,
Thank you so much. This is so cool. Genuinely, thank you so much. And you got me pens too. Oh, dude. I will say my favorite pen is a G2. If anybody was ever going to send me pens, I fucking love G2s. I will probably start a P.O. box at some point. Emily has my real address, so if she ever wants to send me a bomb, she more than can.
Have your parents.
That's true, actually, yes. Thank you so much. Genuinely, thank you so much. I'm going to open this last one on camera, and then Michael will cut it out. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Open last. Here we go. I'm so excited. I am so excited. It's Vienna sausages. I don't understand.
Read the top.
Reminded me of... Dude, I do. I think it's so small. I really do. But that's really funny. It's got to be so small. So small. And they really do look... That's eerily reminiscent.
It reminded me of him. I was like, I saw it. I was like...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Emily, thank you very, very much for having this conversation with me. I hope it was helpful. I'm sorry if it was super long, but genuinely thank you so much. Yeah. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Yeah, thanks.
And thank you for the gift. Thank you for the gift. And thank you for your Patreon support. You're the best. Look at this. Fuck yeah.
Anytime.
Hell yeah. Okay, cool. We're going to cut it. Do you want to plug your business? Go ahead and plug your business. EmilyCapelli.com.
EmilyCapelli.com, BodyLoveTherapy.com.
You're in Pennsylvania.
I'm in Philadelphia. Yep.
Yes. And so only people in Pennsylvania can solicit your services. Is that correct?
Yep.
Got it. So if you're in Pennsylvania and you want a super dope therapist, talk to Emily Capelli, and she is going to do that. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Emily.